Good afternoon, folks, and thanks for joining us. My name is Tim Wheaton with MMA Sucka, and today we are joined by a very special guest. He is the 2020 heavyweight tournament champion from Glory. He is fighting at Glory 80 coming up on March 19th. Levi Rigters, thanks so much for your time today.
Of course, no problem.
Wow, I'm so excited to have you. So, first of all, congratulations. You got some kids on the way, correct?
Yeah, in like 2 months, two boys.
That's what I thought. It was twins. Congratulations. This is
Yeah,
so exciting, man.
yeah, it is big news.
It is very big news. How's your family reacting? I assume they're all supportive. Are they a little overbearing? Is everyone's tell me everything that's going on here.
Well, it's of course it's a lot, with the fight coming up. My
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend pregnant. The baby's coming in 2 months, but we manage it. Um, the family is really supportive. My girl is. So for me now, the focus is mainly on the fight, and after the fight, I can focus on the kids.
Well, let's talk about the fight then a little bit. You have a massive, figuratively and literally, opponent coming up in Jamal Ben Saddik.
Yeah, it is.
He is the tallest fighter on the Glory roster, followed by you. So this might be one of the tallest fights in Glory history. Tell us about the game plan coming in for this fight.
I can of course not tell everything because that's for the fight. But yeah, he's a big guy, the biggest guy I fought, the heaviest guy, probably the hardest hitting opponent. Um, so yeah, we have to fight smart. He has a lot of weaknesses too, and we have to use those weaknesses in our favor.
No, and that's good to hear. And how has training been coming along? Everything's going according to plan in the gym?
Yeah, you never have a perfect preparation, but that's normal. And we're just focusing on our game plan, and we're training hard. It's tough. It's a lot of training, but it's okay. We're used to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And used to it, you're a very experienced fighter at this point. You don't do a lot of trash talk. No trash talk coming
No,
into this
uh,
fight as well. Tell me a little bit, like, what's the philosophy behind no trash talk? What's the point?
that's just not who I am. And yeah, there are fighters who are like that, who like to talk trash and all of that stuff. But that's just not me. And you have guys who are not like that, but they try to trash talk. But it's not in me, so not gonna fake it.
I can agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Levy.
No, that's what I want to say. I'm not gonna fake it.
Yeah.
Not me.
What
So
was? Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Did you start in martial arts?
what do you mean?
So did you start in like? Were you doing karate striking as when you were younger, or did you go right into kickboxing?
Riding, kickboxing. First training was kickboxing.
Oh.
No karate. No, nothing else.
What was your biggest inspiration of getting into kickboxing? Was there someone who inspired you?
Yeah, my brother. He was kickboxing before me,
Mhm.
and one day he literally pulled me off the couch into the gym, and I never stopped.
Was there other careers you were looking at before kickboxing?
Mm, well, I used to play soccer, but before I started kickboxing, I quit already. So not really. That time I was really in my puberty and not knowing what to do, and so it wasn't a good time. This sport came up.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense as well. I know one of your training partners I spoke to a few days ago, Jay Overmeer, and
Oh
he was a little bit quiet talking about his fight, but talking about your fight, he was so excited. And he said, "Man, this guy's ready to shock the world. He's going to do it." So tell us a little bit about Jay Overmeer, a training partner of yours. How's this kid going to do?
yeah, Jay, we training for years now. A lot of sparring, and we started at like the same level at it's called the Rings. It's a small venue here in the Netherlands. We were fighting there as amateurs, and now we're on the boat on the biggest cards with the biggest organization. So that's a good thing. And Jay, yeah, he has a very special technique, special way of fighting. Um, and I knew a long time that he belongs here on the highest level, and now he can show the world that he belongs here. And I think he will do that with a special way.
No,
Yeah.
and he's a huge talent, right? Everyone's been talking up the kid so much. But So there's some other big fights on the card as well. In the main event, you have Badr Hari and Arkadiusz Wrzosek. What's your prediction for this fight?
Yeah, I think Badr will win this fight. You saw the last fight; he was dominating every round, except the 1 second. But yeah, this fight he will win for sure.
And then, do you want to call out the winner of that match, or are you looking for a title shot after this fight? Because this is a big fight. If you win, you are in the good position.
Yeah, that's important for me. Winning this fight and become in the top three. I'm not really calling out anyone. For me, glory decides who I'm fighting. So if they give me the number one after this fight, if they give me Rico, for me, I'm just want to fight. And one day I want a title shot. For me, it doesn't matter if it's the end of this year or next year.
Oh, absolutely. And Rico is a big fight. Badr Hari is a big fight. For your style, do you think your style plays in well against either of those gentlemen, in particular, like one better than the other?
Well, the thing is, for every opponent, every fight, we try to have a different game plan. So yeah, we would be fighting different for any fighter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, for the younger folks who may be entering the sport,
Yeah.
what advice would you be able to give to them?
The younger guys, yeah, just start doing what you love and train hard and try to train smart as well. Um, you really need to know your own body and your own mind. The only way to really know yourself is by working hard, but maybe also failing. You have to fail, and then you get to know yourself and how your body reacts to different things. How hard can you train? What helps you to become a better fighter? Just start and it will go by itself, I think.
Does it feel weird me asking tell like for the younger people, whereas you kind of used to be in that position not that long ago, right? Like you were the kind of the younger guy in the heavyweight division. Now you're the guy in the heavyweight division. You've come around, right? You are the guy in heavyweight.
Yeah. Well, I for me, I think I have to prove myself still. Um, but yeah, I set my goals and I have a dream and I worked hard for it and I'm on a good way. So yeah, it's going well. It's going the right direction.
This is wonderful to hear. And a big question for you as well. Um, One thing that a lot of fighters have struggled with, they can be very talented in the gym, but when they get in the ring, it's a little bit hard to block everything out. How do you handle focusing in the fight? How do you handle anxiety?
Yeah, that's what I said. You really need to know yourself, like physically, how hard can you train, but also mentally. What works for you and what keeps you calm in the ring. And that's something I experienced the fight against Tarek when I lost the fight. I was not mentally in it, so now I do things like meditation, focusing on my breathing techniques, getting a mental coach, and that's only for me the last year. So I'm still learning a lot of new things, and that's what I said. Sometimes you have to fail to learn things like that.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I think every great kickboxer, they took some knocks along the way to getting to where they need to be, right? Sometimes like Fedor Emelianenko said, you need to fall to get up, right?
Yeah, that's it. It maybe sounds like cliche, but it really is. The fights you lose, you learn the most.
So tell me a little bit more maybe about the schedule. So you have a fight coming up at Glory 80, March 19th. You're having
Yeah,
twins right away.
yeah.
I mean, if schedule permitting, you might be a champion by the end of this year, but I'm not sure if that schedule works with your timeline. Tell me about like when do you want to get back into your next fight?
Yeah, probably after this fight, I will not be fighting in a couple of months because of the babies.
Of
Uh,
course.
the next fight, yeah, I think maybe the end of this year, maybe next year. Yeah, I don't know. Um, but yeah, of course, after the fight, all my focuses will be on the kids, a couple of months. But in the end, yeah, glory decides. So when they give me a big fight the end of the year, that I think it would be possible.
Yeah, it's what glory decides. I can absolutely agree with that. But you're going to be in the mix going forward at the
Yeah,
very least, and that's exciting. Now, where do you see yourself? You have a mental coach right now. You have a big fight coming up. You got kids on the way. There's a lot of good stuff going on. If
yeah,
we were to look into the future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now,
yeah.
where do you see yourself?
Well, the thing is, I always said I want to become the champion before I'm 28. So I got like 1.5 year.
Mhm.
Um, in 5 years, yeah, I would be the champion still. Um, yeah, and 10 years, yeah, then I would be my career would be over. I think you can't fight till you're an old man. So I'm not gonna do this till I'm like 40, and yeah, then I will focus on other things. But I will always use sports. I think stay in this lane, and I have a dream to help just a lot of people who just need an extra push in the right direction, like the youth, and I will use the sports to motivate them and just help them a little bit. So that would be something I will focusing on more in the future. Next year.
I, well, I love the sound of that. I think Remy Boniaski was talking about that as well, working with organizations who help youths,
Yeah,
get off the street, get into sports.
yeah,
Tell us a little bit more.
yeah, a bit. It's yeah, a bit the same. And I think kickboxing, I learned a lot in this sport, and I think I can use it for those people as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense. No, you said something very interesting there that in 10 years you want to be retired. Kickboxing is a sport where the old men tend to hang out far
Yeah,
longer than they need to hang out. Like
too
even
long.
yeah, and guys that we love, like Peter Arts, Badr Hari, arguably Alistair Overeem, hanging on a little bit longer than they had needed to. You sound like you're thinking clearly, and you say, "No, 10 years, I'm out."
Yeah, I always said like around 35, I would be. It would be the end. I think that's perfect. It takes a lot from your body, mentally, physically, and there is a life after this sport also. So I think that would be enough.
That's a great legacy to have.
Right.
Go on becoming champion and then helping the youth out, right?
Yep, that's it. That's the dream.
I love to hear it. At this point in your career, what do you think the biggest achievement was? You were the infusion champion, you were the glory heavyweight tournament champion. What do you think the biggest, or maybe one of the wins that you had? What do you think is the biggest achievement you've had in your career thus far?
Um, well, becoming a world champion at Fusion was a goal itself. So I think that would be the biggest achievement. Um, yeah, and now the next goal is of course Jamal, and then after the belt. So I would go for the belt at Infusion.
Man, this is absolutely the best. This is wonderful. So we have a Levi Rigters, and I'm sorry about saying it so Anglo, but can you say it properly for me?
Richters, but you can. The G is hard for you.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry.
No problem.
So Levi Rigters, he is fighting Glory 80, which is going to be on March 19th. He's fighting Jamal Ben Saddik. You get the last word here. Where can people find more of you? Where can they catch the fight? Give us all the details. What are the kin they expect in this fight as well?
Yeah, you can always, of course, follow me on social media. It's just my first name and last name, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, in 19 March gonna be a big fight, a big heavyweight clash. Yeah, just buy your pay-per-view, watch the fight. If you live around here, buy the tickets. It's gonna be a good night.
Thank you. Appreciate your time so much, sir.
Of course, no problem.